Hello, Titans! We are now on Chapter 3, Section 3, Solving Two-Step Equations. You can write that down on the top of your notes. Our objectives are to write equations that represent real-world situations and solving two-step equations. You don't need to write this down in your notes, but we're going to go over it. What we do first is we change subtraction to addition. This is like our keep, change. So we're going to keep, change. So we get 17 plus a negative 3x equals 8. And then we add a negative 17 like it shows in the blue. Then we get negative 3x equals a negative 9. Then we divide by a negative 3, and x equals 3. To check this, we then plug this back into our original equation. So 17 minus 3 times 3, does that equal 8? And yes, it does. So then we know that we are right. Here's an example for your notes. What we do first is we're going to add a negative 31 to each side. So we get 15y equals 30. Divide by a 15. So y equals 2. To check that, we'll plug that back in. So 15 times 2 plus 31, does that equal 61? Well, 30 plus 31, and that equals 61. So then we know that that's the answer. You also don't need to write this down in your notes, but we're going to go over it as well. What we do first is we're going to add 2, like it shows in the blue. So we get 26 equals x over 4. Since the 4 is in the denominator, we're now going to multiply by 4 on both sides so that the 4 cancels out. Then you get 104 equals x. Here's another example for your notes. We can keep, change. So we have x over a negative 4 plus a negative 3 equals 10. We're going to add 3 to each side. So you have x over negative 4 equals 13. And now we have a negative 4 in the denominator. So we're going to multiply by the negative 4 on each side so that we can cancel out the negative 4 and have x alone, and then that equals a negative 52. Now we have two-step equations involving symbols of inclusion. There's two ways to solve this first one. One way is to distribute the 2, so you have 2x plus 14 equals a negative 18. You then add a negative 14 to each side. So you have 2x equals a negative 32. And divide by 2. So x equals a negative 16. Another way is to just divide from the very first step. So we divide by 2. So we have x plus 7 equals a negative 9. Add a negative 7 to each side, and x equals negative 16. Since we get the same answer for both, we know that there's two ways to solve this equation. With the second one, we have a 2 in the denominator, so we're going to multiply by 2 on each side. So we have x minus 5 equals 12. And then we can keep, change. So we have x plus a negative 5 equals 12. We're going to add 5 to each side. So x equals 17. Here's an application problem. It says the number of CDs sold last month was 8 more than 3 times the number of CDs sold this month. Last month, 107 CDs were sold. How many were sold this month? This may sound a little confusing, but why don't we narrow it down? What we're trying to find is how many CDs. Well, that will be our variable x. So then if we look back, it says 3 times the number of CDs. So we're going to do 3x. Now it says 8 more. So we know that more equals addition. And then how do we know what our equation equals to? Is that last month we know there's 107 CDs sold. So that's what we're going to set our equation equal to. So then we're going to solve for x. We add a negative 8 to each side. So we have 3x equals 99. Divide by 3. And x equals 33 CDs. Now you can try these problems. What I would suggest is pausing, doing them yourself, and we'll go over the answers in class. If you don't know how to do these, I would suggest going back and rewatching the video. Don't forget to fill out the Google form. Thanks for watching, guys.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.